The problem is not merely one cleaning person, one office employee, one manager. It is a cesspool of culture indifference. It should not take public pressure to increase the goddamn water pressure.
Welcome back to Inside City Hall. That was Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams last Friday, outraged over the living conditions at the Brevoort Houses complex. Hundreds of tenants lost running water back on July 16th after an issue with the pumping system. Many, including senior citizens, had to resort to hauling buckets full of water up several flights of stairs just to bathe and flush their toilets. It is the latest problem facing those living in our city's public housing. And according to Adams, the New York City Housing Authority also had workers try to cover up the scope of the problem, which took more than 10 days to resolve. Eric Adams joins me now with an update on that and much more. Welcome back to the program. I wish it was under happier circumstances.
So true.
As I wrote in the Daily News today, I thought the level of outrage, including the profanity, was exactly what is called for. How did this come to your attention, and what's the current status in that development?
I received an email in the morning from a resident of Brevoort, and she basically stated that while taking a shower, the water turns off, no communication. And it was just unbelievable. When we went on the ground there and spoke to the residents, we saw the little water faucets, and seniors had to carry water in a bucket. There was no concern for the residents at all. And when we reached out to NYCHA, they stated that the problem was 5 hours old. The ticket was for 5 hours, when in fact it was for days. So right there, we knew something was wrong.
Right. What you discovered was that they would have it on for a while and then close out the ticket and say, well, we had hot water for a few hours, but this was happening almost daily for almost 2 weeks.
Yes. You know, it'll come on for half an hour. It will come on for an hour. They'll close the tickets. And then the tenants will have to start all over again, calling people. No one is answering their calls. Just a black hole of information. And it's really unbelievable, the lack of basic customer service. This has nothing to do with 5,000 employees down in the last 10 years, nothing to do with the almost $3 billion cut in federal money, nothing to do with the $20 million that's going towards the 50,000 tickets. It has to do with how do you treat people with a level of dignity and respect they deserve. That cultural indifference has nothing to do with the dollar amount.
Right.
It is within the agency. Not only are the buildings crumbling, but also the bureaucratic madness has crumbled inside of NYCHA.
What's the current status there? Is the water back on? Is it substantially fixed? I mean, you certainly got their attention last Friday.
Well, it's on now, but we were told that there's a possibility it is going to be off again tomorrow. So we're going to deploy a team of volunteers and young people to come and help the seniors carry water to their apartments if need be, and really to stay on the ground. We're not going to leave Brevoort and any other public housing. Now I understand why Cory Booker in
Newark. He lived there.
He understood.
Brick Towers. Yeah. That's right.
That's the only way you're going to bring attention to this agency.
Yeah, I mean, that is one solution. You have another solution which comes from your past in the NYPD. You suggested that a kind of a CompStat system, not just the tracking of the numbers, but the accountability that comes with it.
Without a doubt. When you really examine this problem, it is the belief that large agencies and cities must operate in crisis. That is the big mistake we're making in cities across America, but particularly here in the NYCHA situation. Bratton showed us in the mid-90s, after years in the police department, police officers and commanders believing that crime could not be decreased. That was the belief. 2,000 homicides a year. We're down to almost 200 now. But nonetheless, he used a CompStat model. He went in, not only did you determine, are we trending in the right direction, but we held people accountable. There is no accountability now. We need to look at the structure of NYCHA, introduce CompStat type model where we ensure you have to inspect what you expect, or is all suspect, I like to say.
Well put. Let me switch topics. There was a question. There's a question on the table about the specialized high school SATs. You were standing next to the mayor when he said, we have to do away with this test. It's it's not acceptable to have a near total shutout of Black and Latino students into the top schools. We need to rework this entire system. You were with them. You were in agreement. Something changed about a week later, and I saw at least one article suggesting that you were contacted by some big donors who were alumni of this school, and that's what changed your mind. I wanted you to sort of clear that up.
Well, not at all. We said, and it's funny to me how people often say that politicians don't listen to communities. We put out a report over a year and a half ago on what we believe needed to be done.